of Mr. McClellan, who has been excused from this meeting, sir.
Thank you, Darrell, and I'd like everybody to be introduced to Darrell Bentaker. He is our new city clerk, and we're proud to have him.
Thank you.
And is his first real test, so we're going to ask him to stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance for us, or at least lead us in the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance. That'll be followed by a brief moment of silence. Thank you.
Please place your hands over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, staff, do you have any agenda changes?
No, sir.
Council, any agenda changes? This brings us to public comment. At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council, Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency that is not on the agenda. Comments relating to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time that the item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action on items not on the agenda. However, council, authority, and agency members may briefly respond to statements or questions, and an item may be placed on a future agenda. Darrell, do we have any cards under public comment?
Mayor, we do not have any cards, but we do have cards when we get to the public hearing section, sir.
All right, let's move on then. Item 100 is a public hearing for the Hampton Inn by Hilton. Proposed specific plan, addendum to mitigated negative declaration, and disposition and development agreement for a proposed hotel and commercial development, 100 Fletcher Parkway. Staff, would you please tell us about this?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. This is an important project that staff is excited to bring to the City Council and to the community this evening. It really got started a couple of years ago when the City Council made a decision to put this property, our former police station, owned by the former redevelopment agency, the successor agency, out to the marketplace in an RFP procedure. City Council assigned, at that time, council members Kendrick and Ambrose to sit on a subcommittee with city staff and a member of our consultant team who's here tonight, Don Mosier, to consider the 7 proposals that came in and to make a recommendation to the City Council as to one that should be chosen. The Brixton Capital Excel Hotels team was the team that was chosen to do this development, and they've been spending the past couple of years diligently working on bringing the project to the City Council tonight. I'm going to ask in just a moment Tony Shute, our Director of Community Development, to give you a more detailed description of the project, and the applicant, as I mentioned, is here to talk as well. I do want to mention that between the hotel and the retail component, this represents approximately a $27 million investment into this community. It's one of the largest investments we've had for private development in some time, in a very important part of our community in the freeway access, the top of Magnolia Fletcher Parkway corridor, where we have seen significant development in the past. With that, as a brief background, I'm now going to ask Mr. Shute to take away for the staff report.
Thank you, Doug. Mayor and Council, as indicated, this is the Hampton Inn commercial development under a specific plan. The project site is well known. It is a 4.1 acre site at the northeast corner of Fletcher Parkway and North Magnolia Avenue. SR 67, or State Route 67, and the off-ramp run parallel to the eastern property line. And the property is improved with one building, which is the former police station, and associated surface parking lots and landscaping. The building has been vacant since 2011, when the police station was decommissioned. There are currently 2 parcels, one owned by the City of El Cajon and one owned by the successor agency. Access is currently taken from driveways on North Magnolia Avenue, and surrounding uses include the Parkway Plaza to the south and the Home Depot shopping center to the west. There are other ancillary commercial uses across 67. So here's an image showing the project site. So this is looking at the basically from the corner of where Parkway Plaza is located. And this is looking from about a vantage point from Home Depot. And this is looking from across Fletcher Parkway as if you were about the Applebee's location. So as mentioned, the project proposes a specific plan to program the site for new development, new land uses including the Hampton Inn Hotel with approximately 96 rooms, 2 commercial shell buildings of approximately 12,000 square feet, and a drive-through casual restaurant proposed to be operated by In-N-Out Burger. The proposed uses are consistent with the planned and surrounding land uses. The hotel use would be supportive of the regional commercial base in the area by providing rooms for businesses, business travelers, and tourists. It's expected that the hotel development may spur further economic investment in the surrounding area. The commercial retail uses would provide on-site dining and retail options for hotel guests and the broader community. The drive-through use is also compatible with other uses, and it's responsive to a market demand for drive-through convenience. In addition to the specific plan is a mechanism to allow the height increase from the hotel, which is a standard 35 feet in the regional commercial zone, to go up to 57 feet as proposed. The City Council and the successor agency are also requested to take action on 2 DDAs for the sale of the successor agency-owned property and the City of El Cajon-owned property. So here's the site plan layout. It might be hard to see from your position, but I'll just quickly go over it. The site plan shows how the buildings are positioned on the property. The site would take access from Fletcher Parkway, which is a right-in, right-out driveway, and also by 3 driveways along North Magnolia. In addition, nearly a quarter of the site is dedicated to landscape areas, which double also as stormwater features to capture and treat runoff. The hotel is located up in the northeast corner, which is buffered by the State Route 67 on the east, as well as landscaping and parking. The commercial retail buildings have been brought nearer to the corner of Magnolia and Fletcher Parkway. This is in an effort to frame the intersection, create activity and interest at the street level, as well as provide a pedestrian plaza to draw people in. And the drive-through has been strategically positioned to the east property line, kind of in the corner, in an effort to, and also will be screened by landscaping and a landscape berm. The queue on the In-N-Out Burger is approximately 16 vehicles with an overflow capacity of 5. So the queue length for this In-N-Out Burger could be up to 21 vehicles while remaining on site and not compromising fire lane or backing out into the Fletcher Parkway. So here's the hotel rendering. The overall design theme for the project is contemporary, featuring clean, modern lines and varying light to medium earth tones, accented with some yellow and red. The exterior materials include stucco and ledgestone veneer and metal accents. Roof lines vary from flat to shed roof style, and the hotel architecture is clearly expressed on all 4 sides of the hotel. It also has excellent vertical articulation. The commercial retail is indicated on the site plan shown at the intersection of Magnolia and Fletcher Parkway. Oriented at the street, it has outdoor patios that front on the plaza, and windows, canopies, and ledgestone veneer that also provide visual interest. The In-N-Out is the same neutral color palette with some brand accents, like the canopies that are red. Staff has worked cooperatively with the development team to ensure that the overall design theme is cohesive, threads in with the rest of the building. The shared color palette and materials provide a common threading of this development.
Hold on one second. Karen, do you need to see those other pictures? Can you bring back those pictures for so our press can... Sorry to interrupt your flow there, Tony.
That's quite all right. So As Doug indicated, this project represents a significant investment on a currently underutilized property. The high-quality hotel and commercial development will bring jobs and support the economic base of the city. So staff recommends approval of the addendum to the mitigated negative declaration, the approval of the specific plan, and approval of the DDAs. And staff is available to answer any questions.
Council, any questions for staff? Steve first, and then move down.
So it sounds like the hotel's going to back up against 67. Is that right?
That is correct.
Is Building A the hotel?
That is correct.
So is there, oh, and that looks like parking spaces is a buffer between the hotel and the freeway off-ramp?
Yes.
Okay. Fine, thank you.
Ben?
The contemporary finish, are we fixed on that?
Staff and the development team have worked collaboratively for the last 6 months to get the design theme to where it is. We believe it is of high quality, and each of the buildings kind of integrate with each other and provide this common thread.
Just as a side note, I really like the Panera Bread building, that traditional look. I feel like the contemporary ones sort of go out of style in like 5 years, but just my opinion. Other than that, the project is well needed. That location is awesome by the mall. Everything is a plus. Just personal preference.
Garrett?
I think it looks great.
Can you tell us about amenities like restaurants, pools, conference rooms?
The hotel's proposing to have a restaurant, pool, lobby. I believe a bar will be associated with the restaurant as well.
Okay. Thanks very much. Well, thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. Darrell, do we have any cards?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have a couple of cards for item 100. The first speaker is Mr. Paul Felwitz.
Thank you. Paul Prowitz with Brixton Capital. We're doing the leading the charge on the development.
Great.
Really excited to be here and partnering with you guys and the Excel Hotel guys. To echo Mr. Schutt's comments, we feel we are delivering a great project to the city of El Cajon. They have pushed us on our architecture. A lot of good dialogue back and forth on creating four-sided architecture and a cohesive architecture with the three buildings. We've also spent a great amount of time putting together a site plan that we think logistically works. He mentioned the queuing for in and out, and also focusing on the connectivity between the center of the two retail buildings to Fletcher Parkway. We can't divulge all of our tenants right now, but we're very excited. We have 2 to 3 restaurants with this new fast casual theme lined up. Leases are not signed, so we can't mention who they are yet, but very excited, and it'll be something new and very exciting to the city. So with that being said, we'll keep it short. If you have any questions, more than happy to answer, but other than that, we're ready to start and get going.
Let me see if there's some questions. Thank you. Any questions? No, I think everybody's really excited about this project. We've been waiting for this presentation for a long time, so we'll let you know if we need to call you back up, but thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Ms. Kathy Sanchez.
Hello, Ms. Sanchez, welcome.
Good evening, Katie Sanchez with In-N-Out Burger. We're really excited to add a store to the city of El Cajon, and if you have any questions for me, I'm ready.
Any questions?
You said you're from In-N-Out Burger?
I am.
And then the other In-N-Out Burger in El Cajon is going where? Ooh.
That's more of a real estate question. I'm from the development side of things. So I think there's some issues with our lease on that site. So typically we don't close a store, but from what I know, like I said, that's more on the real estate side of the company. I think there's some back and forth going on with that site. So.
Go ahead.
Will the development of In-N-Out at this location be conditional upon the existing location?
No.
Gary?
As far as stacking goes, are you sure we have enough room for all the cars that line up? Because you guys do a lot of business.
I know. So typically, when our management team goes and looks at a site, we look at a store that has, or a potential site that has 12 cars in the queue. So comparing us to what we have there is kind of, what we have now in the city is apples to oranges. This is a new store with 3 grills, about 6 fryers in there, new equipment. So at the older stores, we're moving cars maybe one every 3 to 4 minutes. At these new stores, we're moving cars every 40 seconds. So
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
How many employees would you have?
So at a new store, we would hire about 60 employees, and that goes from part-time and full-time, and then we have 2 shifts, one in the morning and then one in the evening, which at each shift is probably about 25 associates working.
Great, well, we're excited, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Neil Patel?
Mr. Patel, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be back. We came here a few years ago to talk to you about our first project with the City of El Cajon, and that was the courtyard that's under construction just across the street from here. And we're proud to be working with Mr. Doug and Tony and the City of El Cajon on another project. A few things I just want to bring up as far as the hotel aspect is concerned. PJ did a well job talking about the retail component already. What we tried to do on this particular project is pick a complementary brand to the courtyard that's already under construction. And we think we did that with partnering with Hilton. Hilton is the second largest brand from all hotel chains, Marriott being the first. And both brands, Hampton Inn and Courtyard, will target a different segment. And we think that's important because it'll bring a more diverse group of folks into the city, and not only enjoy the city, but also the new retail center that'll be part of this development. So in terms of amenities that you brought up, it'll offer complimentary breakfast, hot breakfast, internet. There would be a meeting room. There would be also a small bar at the hotel as well for guests to enjoy a couple nights a week. But we'll be available to answer any questions, but definitely want to thank Tony and Doug for their partnership and the City of El Cajon as well.
How many rooms was it?
The hotel?
Yes.
96.
And it's 110?
120 is at the courtyard.
That's great. Let me see if there's any questions for you. Questions? Well, Mr. Patel, thanks very much.
Thank you.
You seem like you've won the Monopoly game because you've got all the hotels, so
Thank you.
very good.
I don't have any other cards for item 100, Mayor.
Okay, then, may we have a motion then to close the public hearing? Moved and seconded, please vote.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
All right, council, any discussion on this? Anybody have anything to discuss? Gary?
I think it's a great project, and my teenage son will be very happy that he can move through the line at In-N-Out Burger much faster. So I think this is a go.
Steve?
It's clearly a no-brainer in terms of the success for El Cajon, so thank you all for your investment, significant in El Cajon.
Ben?
It's a great project.
Yeah, thanks. You know, we've been working really hard for the past decade to rebrand El Cajon and to really make El Cajon a great place to live, work, and play, and this is a huge achievement for the citizens of El Cajon. And we're very happy that you've taken the time and the effort and invested your money to come and be here. We really hope that you're very successful. I was at church a couple nights ago, and a young man came to me, and he was really excited because he had an interview today with the hotel, and that's real. That's, you know, hundreds of people between your hotels and the restaurant and the shops, hundreds of people are going to get jobs out of this, and that means a lot to people right now. So we're very proud that you are here, and thank you for everything you've done. So, gentlemen, would somebody like to make a motion?
Mayor, excuse me, before we get to the motions, I just wanted to point out there's a replacement resolution for the city council resolution. We added a section 3 to that one. It's been handed out to each of you previously. Thank you.
Thanks for reminding us of that. Do we need to do anything special for that? No. All right, I'm open for motions.
It looks like there's 4 motions, if I'm reading this right, Mr. Foley. So I just go through them one at a time, separately? Okay, I would move to adopt the next resolution order adopting the addendum to the mitigated negative declaration.
Second.
Moved and seconded, please vote.
I move to adopt the next resolution in order approving the specific plan.
Second.
Moved and seconded, please vote. My light didn't go on. Sorry. Want to reset it?
I need to reset it, Mr. Mayor.
Let me know when you're ready. Please
Right.
vote.
Motion carries 4-0 on that one as well.
I move to adopt the next resolution in order authorizing the city manager to execute and deliver a disposition and development agreement with Brixton Fletcher LLC.
Second.
Moved and seconded, please vote.
Once again, motion carries 4-0, Mayor.
And finally, acting in our capacity as a legislative body for the successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency, I move that we adopt the next successor agency resolution in order authorizing the executive director to execute and deliver a disposition and development agreement with Brixton Fletcher LLC.
Second.
Moved and seconded, please vote.
Motion carries 4-0.
Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. Go build us a hotel. Yes.
Mr. Mayor and Council, if I might, I'd like to publicly acknowledge the city's project manager on this. This is Melissa Devine, our senior planner.
Melissa, stand up so everybody can see you. How about you, Tony? Did you do anything on this?
No, it's all
Okay.
Melissa.
Then dock his pay. All right. No, well done, Tony. I know you had a lot to do with this. Thank you. All right. Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen. We sure appreciate you being here. Item 101 is a continued public hearing on appeal of a planning commission approval of appeal of director's decision for an adult daycare. I'd like to ask staff to introduce this item, please.
Mayor and Council, this is a proposal for adult daycare. This project was continued from the City Council meeting of June 13th at the request of the City Council. Just a quick reminder, this is for proposed adult daycare at the Babylon Palace, which is on North Magnolia. Babylon Palace is currently an existing banquet hall. So briefly, on May 16th of this year, the Planning Commission approved the appeal of the director's decision to deny an adult daycare. The Planning Commission approved that minor use permit for an adult daycare for a capacity of 100 clients. I'm expecting somewhere between 10 and 15 staff, subject to a detailed transportation plan that was required to be reviewed and approved by the city traffic engineer. And on June 13th, the City Council voted to continue this public hearing to allow for a review of that transportation plan by the city's traffic engineer, which at that time had not yet been submitted. So since the continued hearing date, or since the June 13th date, a traffic plan has been submitted, and it's been reviewed by our city traffic engineer as well as our planning staff, and has been recommended for approval by our city traffic engineer. Again, this is the subject property, which is located on North Magnolia, about mid-block on the west side of Magnolia, between Madison and Wisconsin. And here's the transportation plan that was proposed by the applicant as well as approved by our city traffic engineer. So shuttles would come down North Magnolia, heading south, and then turn right on Wisconsin. In this direction, they avoid the intersection of the alley at West Madison, where there's currently another adult daycare that's operating. turning right on Wisconsin, then turning right again on the alley, and coming from the south and heading north, and then heading towards the property. They would pull onto the subject property where Babylon Palace is located, turning right again, and then dropping off in what you see as this green area. And then the shuttles, as well as anybody transferring clients, would then go back out to the alley, have the option of going back out to the alley, head south, go to Wisconsin, and either go west or east on Wisconsin. We also have an option of going directly back out to Magnolia and head south. This concentrates traffic flow for the adult daycare to the south of the block, away from Madison, an intersection of alley where another adult daycare currently operates. So the expectation is that folks would come in the morning hours between 8:30 and 9, depart in the afternoon somewhere between 2 and 2:30. We're expecting somewhere between 3 to 5 medical transports, 15 to 20 non-medical transport private vehicles, and somewhere between 12 and 15 employees. There's sufficient capacity on the site right now for accommodating employees and non-medical transport. So that was the main issue for the reason for the council continuing this. The council also asked if the applicant had any security protocols to ensure client safety, and that information was not provided to the staff. Perhaps the client is here, and that information can be provided. Staff is available to answer any questions.
Thank you. All right, the public hearing is now open. Darrell, do we have any speaker cards?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have a couple of speaker cards as well for item number 101, public hearing. The first speaker is Mr. Hal Mansour.
Well, Mr. Messer, welcome. Hello there. Good afternoon, everybody. First, I would like to thank every one of you for the time that you spend to evaluate the licensing for Babylon and to look at the traffic at Magnolia. We appreciate it. Thank you very much, all of you. I am the marketing director for Magnolia Center. I've been watching the alley and the traffic for the last 2 years, and it's horrific. Too crowded, too dangerous. If you close look at the alley itself that connects Wisconsin to Madison, there is no traffic control, no traffic signs telling me this is one way or two ways. Cars are coming from all directions, even from the middle of the alley where we have the dental lab. And their leaving and coming is not predictable. We have crystal ball vehicles. We have our vehicles, and we are using vans only. And what I'm hearing that our prospect is trying to use shuttles, and one shuttle if it stops in the alley, going to block the whole alley for the forward and backward direction. I don't have a crystal ball to tell you what's going to happen, but I'm here to say one thing. 99% collisions will happen and fatalities will happen. We are loading disabled people. We are using special cars with lifters, taking their time to load the patients or the participants. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, but I just want to document with the city. If anything happened, who is responsible? That's why I'm here. By all honesty, I'm trying to serve and help the people of El Cajon and its citizens. Your cooperation in this matter is greatly appreciated, and thank you for giving me the time.
Let me see if there's any questions for you. Steve?
Mr. Mansour, if the applicant does the unloading on their property and not in the alley, does that alleviate your concern?
I don't think so, because we are talking about so many traffics for so many reasons in that alley, and they are using that alley. Example, Crystal Ball is not for weddings only, it's not restaurant only, but all Chaldean activities are there from the morning till the night. What's in the morning? Funerals, rehearsals for Mexican people. At night, weddings, political and personal matters, all going there in Crystal Ball. Not only this, but I notice a lot of walkers coming from high school, from whatsoever. In addition to this, now we have walking activity going on from 9 to 10 o'clock, sometimes 8:30 to 9:30. That's the time we start or somebody else starts, and there's conflict in time in there. So I will leave the judgment to you, and I'm sure going to be wise. Any further questions?
No, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The next speaker, Mr. Mayor, is Mike Tersibakian.
Hello, sir, welcome back.
Good evening again. So I've submitted the traffic plan to show that the property itself can hold a nice long queue of any vehicles that we would need. One of the questions that you presented last time was the securing of the doors, and I believe that kind of came up afterwards, and I was sitting down, so I didn't want to interrupt the meeting. But we only have 3 doors on the site. One of the confusion, I was talking about 5 points of entry and exit on the vehicular end of it, not in the building itself. So the building has 3 doors. One of them is the main entrance where there's always a receptionist. The other door, you'd have to go through my kitchen staff to get out from that door, and then there's only one additional door. And that's, I believe, pretty much it from the questions that were presented for us last
All
time.
right, thank you. Let me see if there's some questions. Ben?
Mike, the door that's on Magnolia is always locked, right?
It should be open when certain capacities are reached.
Tell me about reimbursement.
I believe I submitted some paperwork.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm trying to make heads or tails of it. It says that, yes, there is reimbursement, but it doesn't talk about a dollar figure or how the decision to reimburse has come up with. Have you gotten more information about that?
The only information I got that the state of California does reimburse, I believe for the daycare centers, it calls it more for a state of mental health where the seniors can get out, and they're also provided the different meals during the day, and it also alleviates the caregivers to be able to take them somewhere. Whereas the health, but they're both actually covered through the Medi-Cal system, and I've put all of the information in there.
So are you going to pay for their food during the day?
That part is covered with adult daycare and adult health daycare, yes.
What about transportation?
Out of the money that comes in, usually individual centers pay out the transportation. I believe it runs more or less somewhere real close to $10 per day.
So I want my mom to go to this daycare. I don't have a way to get her there. How do you get her there?
Oh, there's private transport. All of the centers use private transport. They also use some shuttles. The shuttles are going to be more for people that are maybe wheelchair bound.
Okay. And how do you make a business plan if you don't know what your reimbursement rate's going to be?
Well, I have a general idea of the funding and how much it's going to be.
Do you know what that is?
I believe last time I mentioned that it was 68 per person.
$68 per?
Yes.
Per day, per patient?
Yes.
Okay.
And as far as the billing goes, usually most doctor's offices, they don't do their own billing. They farm out the billing to billing companies. So that's why I didn't have the specific details. I had a general idea of how much funding we were going to have to see if it was going to carry over the project or not.
Yeah, the only reason I ask is because I want to make sure it makes sense that you can afford to pay for transportation, pay for the space, which you've already owned, so that's cheaper.
Right.
Good. And then still have enough money left over to have the kind of staff that you would need in order to keep all these people safe. That's really that's where I'm going with this question.
No, I understand. Actually, last time when you asked that, I appreciated the political system even more because I felt, genuine concern from, the council member and yourself where you're, trying to watch over the community. One way or another, I've been in business for so long and I've done so many projects. I've always made them succeed. I've carried them through just from the experience that I've had. In all fairness, the center on the corner, I want to commend them, even though they're up here, complaining about me causing a traffic havoc. But when they first opened, there was some issues, and I want to commend them because they've actually resolved a lot of these issues that they've had. A lot of things are going much smoother, a lot easier, and I believe any business given the chance just for the opportunity of its survival is going to strive towards fixing whatever problems it have. And I hope you give me the opportunity to be able to address all those myself and carry the project through successfully.
Okay. Are there any more questions? Steve?
Would you have clients who have memory issues, Alzheimer's, other things? Would those be clients of yours?
When I spoke with the Department of Social Services, they told me that an adult daycare center, as that I can actually choose how many people that have certain limitations, how many I would want in my center. She says we're not required to take all of them versus an adult health care center. They're given a certain amount of people, and I believe they have to take them. Our facility can actually hold all of it. It can hold either a health care center or a daycare center because we have enough property. I was talking about having almost several hundred linear feet of either driveway or easement that we share with the building next door. In fact, if I could add one more comment. There was a funeral somewhere about a month ago, and since we're in the Chaldean community, some of the people from the corner walked over and asked their transport to come and pick them up at my property. It was beautiful because I got a chance to actually see it in action. I saw one transport pull up between me and 460 and parked in a handicap space. I saw one park in the main driveway, and cars actually drove right around him. And that was just a couple of them. There was plenty of room for them to queue up, besides the traffic plan that I submitted to Anthony that the traffic department looked at.
Well, let's get back to the Alzheimer's memory issue.
Yes.
We have to protect people who may not be able to protect themselves. And the concern was expressed at the last meeting, how are you going to keep, if you accept these kind of people, how are you going to keep them secure?
Well, the amount of doors, that was the concern. I believe I may have, I wasn't clear, but the amount of doors that we have are only 3. The main entrance, there's always someone at the main entrance. One of the other doors, you'd have to go through my kitchen staff to get out. So there's only basically 2 doors that we'd have to watch.
And would you have a monitor at that door?
Well, most of the centers that I've been to that I've seen, they have enough staff. They're always walking around. If need be, where there may be a door, they can either put a panic bar where the emergency push to exit the door would buzz if someone opened it, or they would just have a desk of one of the employees by that door. But it's very easy to be able to control the area.
The doors that you have, you mentioned the main door where you have a staff person monitoring.
Yes, there's always someone to greet people as they come in, so there'll always be someone there to watch people as they enter and exit.
You said there's a door that goes out through the kitchen,
Yes, so there's always staff there, so you'd have to actually make it through them.
and the third door, you said, could be monitored. Does that
Very
currently,
easily, yes.
does that currently have a panic bar with an audible alarm on it?
No, that one does not, and that one, I would probably put a real person there all the time.
I'm interested in protecting the public through an audible alarm, because we don't know where that monitor could be at any given moment, and
No, I agree with you.
we
Then
must protect people.
Then I don't mind adding that if you feel that it would be a safety requirement. I fully agree with you on that.
Thank you.
So if you had a client that wanted to leave, and you didn't want them to leave, what options would you have?
I believe if they're coming and they're committing for a certain amount of hours. If they need to leave, then it would be up to the director to find a means to get them back to their home. So they'd probably call in a shuttle and pick them up right away.
It's a question you want to answer, because in most psychiatric-type facilities, unless they're on a 72-hour hold, you can't hold them against their will.
Right.
And sometimes when people are agitated and forgetful, and they're striking out at people, and they want to leave, they might go out and walk in the traffic. Those are just questions that you need to think about. I assume you're going to have a clinical director?
Yes, I'm definitely going to hire someone with experience to run the project, because I don't have enough experience myself for it, yes.
Do you know what your qualifications for a clinical director would be?
I've already read all of them online, and I've already spoken actually with one company that owns an adult daycare in the city of Escondido.
Great.
And they also supply a lot of staff for private nursing for homes. She told me, I can get you your whole entire staff, and I can get you a qualified manager to run your project for you. I haven't gone to the next step yet because of the struggle just getting this project approved. I didn't want to jump the gun yet with a lot of things. There's a lot of additional fees, but I will do what it needs to get the project to work, that's for sure.
Of course. All right. Any more questions? Steve?
What's the required staff to client ratio?
It was 8-to-1. The only time they require additional staffing is if you have someone that requires certain needs. And I believe the way they put it for me at the office at Metropolitan Drive is if that person cannot take care of themselves in any which way, in other words, they can't comb their hair, they can't clothe themselves, they can't bathe themselves, then that ratio changes to 1-to-4. So if you have 4 of them, you'll have to have 1 staff member to watch over these 4. But that's not for all of the project, only for those individuals.
Okay. Well, sir, thanks. We may ask you some more questions a little later, but I appreciate you coming up and answering so many questions.
Sure. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Ms. Lynn McDougall.
As a courtesy, Mr. Abdul, I'll be glad to do that for you. I want to tell the audience it probably has little impact on the decision that the council will make, but it gives him an opportunity to address any questions that might come up. And happy to do that, Mr. McDougall. And if you'd like to do it from your seat, we can bring you a microphone. Okay.
The next speaker, Mr. Mayor, we have Lula Karana Alkas Shamoun.
Hello, welcome back.
Good evening. Last meeting, you asked me about how sure I am if the state does not fund for adult daycare non-health? My answer was, I'm 100% sure. I emailed the proof to all of you, and if needed, I have a physical copy with me. Last meeting, you asked Mike, who is contacting for his funding? Mike said he contacted an agent of Department of Social Service. Here the title 22, which is a part of Department of Social Service. If Mike is applying for non-health, then why he is contacting the Department of Social Service for his funding? Please, before you make your decision today, think about the elderly who live in El Cajon, who elected you and trusted you when it comes to their life and health. And do so by pushing the red light today. Stop this man, Mike, from deceiving you while you have the chance. If you are certain that my permit and a business license stated adult daycare non-health, then the video recording today of pushing the green light will be legal documentation of this action and a proof of adult daycare being non-health. I just want to say one thing to Mr. McDougall. You always have said that you do not have...
Ma'am, go ahead and speak to us, they'll hear you.
You always have said that you do not have financial interest. No, you do have financial interest. You want to make sure Mike stay in business because he rents parking space from the building next door to Babylon Banquet Hall, which is your personally owned. Thanks for giving me the chance to clarify the truth.
Let me see if there's any questions for you. Any questions? No, thank you for coming.
Thanks. Do you receive any question about the email I sent?
Yes, I received it. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Tony Rahim.
Mr. Rahim, welcome.
Hey, how you doing, everyone? Well, I just want to say we're from Crystal Ballroom Hall, 414 North Magnolia Avenue. So I just want to say the traffic is congested already in the alley behind of our building. It's, it's busy in the morning and evening, and we have activities, and we have parties at night, and we have private meeting in the morning, and we have, we call it quinceañera for Mexican parties, like 7-8 times a month, and we have, they also practice and do the dance training in the morning. So that's all I have to say.
Hold on. Any questions for? So you're saying that this all happens at the Crystal Ballroom?
Yes.
Okay. How does that affect what they're trying to do?
Well, I just want to say the alley is always busy behind our building, so the parking lot and all that. So we have too many events and activities at the hall.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker, Mr. Mayor, is Natalie Korabi.
Ms. Korabi, welcome.
Yes. Hello, Mr. Mayor, the City Council members. My name is Natalie Korabi. I'm the owner of Magnolia Adult Day Healthcare Center at 490 North Magnolia Avenue. So I'm here yet again today. Again, I was hoping to speak last. This is my second request, however, because last time, again, there's something happened to where I was not allowed to do that, even though I was promised. I wanted to address what Mr. McDougall will have to say, just like last time I did not get a chance to address what Mr. Cajon said after he came up a second time.
Ma'am?
What Mr. McDougall said, but...
Can I just ask you a question?
Yeah.
Who promised you?
I'm sorry?
Who promised you could speak last?
The lady sitting right there.
You'll need to ask me, and
Okay, just last time I was the first person in this building before anybody else came in, and I asked and I was promised, and
I apologize.
and
for
today,
that, but
again, I asked, I was here before Mr. McDougall yet again.
You can turn
So I
it
just
right
want
up.
this to be on record, that this keeps happening to me for, I don't know what reason, but it's sort of odd that, I'm being denied this request every single time.
The reason I made the decision is because he stood up and asked me. He was the first one to ask me, so I apologize.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Apology accepted.
We can start your time over and go ahead and get started.
Thank you. Okay, so several issues and a lot of the stuff I addressed at the previous meeting, but again, today, I'd like to address some of the things that were said that I did not have a chance to address last time on June 13th. So first of all, the issue of traffic. Yeah, transportation plan on paper looks very good, but I'm a business owner. I deal in reality, and in reality, this plan is not going to work. The alley is congested from morning till the time our participants go home. Every single business on this block, except for Mr. McDougall's place, is against this project, including the dental arts lab, which is right behind my building. So every single owner on that block has expressed clearly in their emails to you. Even the owner next door, who is no longer with us, he sent an email to the planning department, and I'm sure it's on file, stating that, there are numerous reasons for why this project is not a good idea in this location. So that would be issue number one. And like I told you last time, safety of my participants and my staff is my primary responsibility. And with all due respect, there were a lot of mentions at the last meeting as to Mr. Tarkashian's investment of $500,000 into this project, meaning the Babylon Palace. Well, with all due respect, I invested over $1 million into an adult day health care center. I did not open a ballroom and then decide to change my mind and get an additional business, additional income in the morning versus the income at night. I guess I could come here and ask you, could I operate a ballroom out of my center, because my center empties out at 3 o'clock. So maybe I could open up another business, but I didn't. I chose to build an adult day health care center from scratch on my own. It's a female-owned business. I'm the only owner. I have, again, almost 40 people of staff members who depend on me and their families. And again, the safety of them and my participants is my primary concern. So I would appeal to reason. Like I said, all these arrows look very nice on paper. It doesn't work in real life. I know the traffic at Crystal Ballroom. I know the traffic at the facility next door to me, and of course the traffic that comes from the dental clinic. This is going to be a nightmare of a situation, and I'm appealing as a business owner who again invested all this money into a real adult day health care center. Which brings me to my next point. The reason I opened this business, because of course all business people want to make some money at least. It's a huge investment up front, but you hope that one day you could recoup that and start making some profit. Well, the state of California, through their Medi-Cal HMO program, compensates me $68.64 per person, which includes all of their food, transportation expenses, and a whole host of positions of professional people who are there to service them. A physical and occupational therapist at $75 an hour, speech therapist at $65 an hour, nurses at $45 an hour. Here, Mr. Tarkashian just told you, I believe I'll be compensated $68. For what? For babysitting, for lunch, and for bingo? No, the state compensates me for my services. He's not going to be compensated, and I'm surprised that starting yet another business out of his location, he did not do his homework.
Ma'am.
So I'm here to help you make this decision by giving you real facts from my 20-year experience as a business owner in this industry.
We probably have some questions for you.
Thank you.
Let me start with Steve.
Do you have clients at your facility who have Alzheimer's or other memory
Absolutely, sir. We cannot reject them. We cannot deny them. Once they come in and they get a note from their doctor saying that the doctor recommends our program as part of their rehab services or their maintenance program, then yes, we're not allowed to reject them. And the reason why I'm able to care for them is, again, my huge staff. I have 5 registered nurses on staff. The program that he proposes requires 0 nurses, absolutely 0. I have 5 social workers on staff. I have a physical therapy room the size of this room, which you cannot run out of a ballroom. Excuse me, I have offices, I have, spaces for treatment for the participants. So I have licensed clinical social workers. His program that he's claiming will compensate him the same amount of money requires 0 professional staff, 1 administrator, and then basic staff, which are called program aides, which I have, about 15 of those.
Back to my question with the people with Alzheimer's. How do you prevent them from wandering off-site?
Again, my professional staff. That's why the program allows me to have them, is because of all of my professional staff that take care of them throughout the day. And by the way, because they receive so many services in that 4.5 period of time, they're being constantly, obviously, supervised, but they're also being kept very busy because they go from room to room. I have offices. I don't have a ballroom. What is going to happen with people who want to go outside and cannot sit at their chairs for 4.5 hours? I have a huge outdoor space with a fountain, with trees, with canopies, constantly improving it. It's like a Garden of Eden. I would welcome all of you to take a walk there. There's nothing like that at that facility. Where are these people going to go? They're going to congregate outside, either on Magnolia, or they're going to be in the parking lots, again, blocking traffic through the alley. So that's just the reality of it, and I would hope that you will see, what I'm trying to, I know it's a short time for you to understand this very convoluted process and program, but that's what it is.
What you can do to help us is just answer the question directly and shortly, so we can...
Yeah, well, I have 40 people that work for me. I don't have 10 to 12. I have 40 people. And I'm at half of my capacity, which is a good thing because I have room to grow.
All right, let me see if there's some more questions. Anybody else have more questions? So I have one main question, one thing that has confused me through this entire process.
Right.
We've got 2 groups of folks here. They both seem to be doing basically the same job, but you're dealing with a different clientele. You are dealing with a health center. They're dealing with adult daycare. It seems like you get different rates of reimbursement from different agencies.
They get 0 rate of reimbursement. It's all private paid.
I hear what you say.
Yeah.
But why do you care? Why do you care if they go out of business? Why do you care if they can't make a go of it?
I didn't until you brought it up at the last meeting. All I cared about was traffic.
Okay, so you're here tonight. Is there any other reason besides traffic that you're here?
Well, I didn't want to bring it up, but I guess I will. There are very serious rumors going around that Mr. Tarkachan has been already recruiting my adult day health care center's clients to come over and join him in his ballroom for an ADHD.
So I have a question.
Which is a concern, of course.
Maybe this can make me understand. So if you get reimbursement from the state and they get 0 reimbursement, why would they be recruiting your patients, and why would your patients want to go?
I think in the hopes of transferring in the near future their license. This is what I heard from several sources, very credible sources.
So you think the issue is they'll start off as a non-licensed center and then apply for licensure?
Absolutely.
And that there'll be competition between your 2 businesses?
Well, competition, again, I would welcome all of you to take a walk to my center.
I have no stake in this, but I just wanted to understand.
Right. And Mr. Wells, Mayor Wells, last point, if I were coming to El Cajon to open up this business, I would have never in my wildest dreams wanted to be 220 feet away from another senior center that's very large. My center is, like I said, we're licensed for over 200 people capacity, which means this traffic situation can only get worse as I grow, for example. So in my wildest dreams, as a business person, why would I ever go do that? The only reason Mr. Tarkachan is doing it because he already has a facility for a ballroom.
I hate to interrupt you, but this is really outside of our purview. What business decisions people make, whether they're good or bad, is really not part of our decision-making process. I want to thank you for coming, and we'll
thank you for hearing me.
We'll go on and see how things go.
Mr. Mayor, I have one more question. You said you have 40 staff people. Where do they park? I'm looking at the site plan here, and
Oh, we
It's not
also
in-
worked out an agreement, our staff is parking at the Crystal Ballroom overflow parking lot during the day.
Is that,
We have 26 spaces, so the rest of my staff is parking in the Crystal Ballroom's parking lot.
so, Tony, can you help me know which, that's the Crystal Ballroom? And the
Yeah.
one immediately to the north is Mr. McDougal's lot? Am I
Yep.
correct there? Okay. And by the way, who owns the alley?
City?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, thank you.
Lynn McDougall, last speaker.
Mr. McDougal, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. First, I need to make the disclosures before that although my name is on the law firm to which Mr. Foley belongs, I have no interest in the law firm. The law firm has no interest in the building that we have there next door. First, with respect to the traffic, it's a little bit disingenuous, in my opinion, for this lady to be claiming that the traffic problem is just because of the flow of traffic. In the document that Mike presented to you, on the last page is a letter from Vicki Jones, who owns the Advanced Dental Arts Company, and she was against the project the last time she was here. She has, in the meantime, changed her mind, and if I may quote to you, she says, "My employees and I have watched the traffic delays, and they are caused by the Magnolia Adult Care Center loading and unloading their patients by stopping vehicles in the alley. I actually saw them unload a wheelchair patient from a stopped vehicle and wheel her across the alley. Their problem is they do not have an area on their property for vehicles to load and unload." And then she ends by saying, "I have been assured by Mr. Tersbashian that he has a parking plan that will not interfere with my business, including my delivery drivers. And in my opinion, Mr. Tersbashian's permit should be approved. I personally have watched this loading and unloading, and contrary to the testimony you heard, they do indeed park vehicles right in the alley, unload people, and have them walk across the alley. And they also have them in cabs. They have them in other just regular vehicles. So my point still remains that with the parking area that Mike has on his property, that is going to be a safe situation. The other thing, with respect to the issue of me having an interest in there, I think I was pretty careful to say I have no direct financial interest in this building, in this permit, but obviously, and it was on the record, that he does lease property from us in the evening. With respect to the testimony by the lady saying that there was no reimbursement by Medi-Cal for a daycare center that is not a health center, I submit that in the documents that are attached to Mr. Tersbashian's letter, it clearly says that not only is that available, but the state of California has a program for it, and I contacted the county, and the deputy county attorney that deals with all of these things assured me that indeed they are entitled to be reimbursed for these things. I also talked to the ombudsman for the county for this type of operation, and they assured me that that funding is available. Obviously, he doesn't have a permit from them yet because, as he said, it costs money, and he was waiting to see how this came out.
Let me, your red light has gone off, so I need to transfer this to questions at this point. I have a question. What is that rate of reimbursement?
Well, I don't know for sure, but Mike had someone tell him that it was, I think, $68 or whatever.
It sounds like that's the exact same number that the healthcare center gets reimbursed. It seems unlikely to me that they would get, a non-licensed daycare center would get reimbursed the same rate as a healthcare center.
I don't know that, Mr. Mayor, but I would say this. Mike is a business person. He's obviously not going to operate it unless it is a profit-making operation.
Sure.
And so I think that you can rest assured that if it isn't sufficient, he won't do it. His requirement is to have the transportation provided in the permit, and he will do that.
Questions for Mr. McDougall? Steve?
Mr. McDougall, what's interesting to me about this picture is it's a Google Earth or satellite view of your lot. It appears to be during the daytime, and it appears that your lot isn't full. But can you tell me you're not making available your lot to the applicant for some reason? Because why?
The lot across the alley?
Yes.
Yes. No, it's not full because I have two tenants, and the parking during the day is under the leases to each of, half of the parking to each of those tenants.
So it's reserved already?
Yes, it's already.
Committed, allocated. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions for Mr. McDougall? Sir, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Is that the end of our cards?
I don't have any other speakers,
Mr. Mayor, out of fairness, Mr. McDougall got the last word at the last hearing.
Sure.
And is it Ms. Shamoon? I'm sorry, ma'am, your last name.
Korabi.
The lady there on the aisle. I think out of fairness.
At your request, I'm happy to do that.
For a maximum of 3 minutes. My suggestion.
Thank you. You're more than generous, and I will not take that long. So just to address what Mr. McDougall said, there is no compensation provided by Medi-Cal for those programs. If you call any center in the state, which is called adult daycare, and you say, I have a mother that I would like to place in your center, will you accept her with Molina HMO, HealthNet HMO, any HMO that's out there, Kaiser HMO, Anthem? They will tell you, no, it's private pay, or you can be referred to us by a region center, which in my 20 years of experience, and I'm contracted with them, if you were to ask me, how many patients did you ever get into my healthcare center from the region center, my answer to you would be 0 in 20 years. Even though they love our program, everything is great, you never get a referral from them. And any other center will tell you it's impossible, you will not get those referrals. So therefore, that whole issue, I would like for it to be sort of put to rest. There is no compensation for it. If your mother or father are ill, regardless of your ability to pay, you will have to put up that money out of your own pocket. Or the patient themselves could sell their home, or if they're wealthy, they will pay for themselves, for their care. But again, that's the reason why those centers basically don't exist. Daycare centers, they're almost non-existent in the state. Every time you see a center that is called adult daycare, usually they're a residential facility. And that's where relatives or people themselves will spend about $6,000 a month to house their relative or to house themselves, so somebody takes care of them. So that's as far as the compensation is concerned. And you rightfully said, why would anybody in their right mind spend the same amount of money? Take money from taxpayers to provide, in all fairness, bingo and lunch makes no sense. So.
Thanks for coming back.
Thank you.
Is that our last card?
Is the last card, Mr. Mayor?
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Please vote.
Motion to close the public hearing carries 4-0, Mayor.
All right. Gentlemen, this is surprisingly being one of the more interesting cases we've seen in a while. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Steve?
The lady who owns the memory care at Magnolia Adult Day Health Care, she's found a solution for her parking situation in a partnership with Crystal Ballrooms so that she doesn't require on-street or public parking for her staff and her clients. I like that partnership. In this case, I'm concerned about the parking, or I should say lack of parking, 25 spaces and potentially up to 100 clients with 12. Nonetheless, I do have I think the people have a right to the American dream of running a business, and let the market decide if 2 is too many or if there's only room for 1. So I guess I am likely to allow the business or to uphold the planning department's decision, but I would ask if we can put a condition that all parking related to the business must be contained on site or in some other off-street parking arrangement with the private person, as the Magnolia person has done.
Staff, any objections to that?
No, there isn't. The council can add any conditions that it wishes to do so.
That's a thought. Rather, if we're going to have 12 spots for staff, that leaves 13 out of 100 potential clients. I realize many of them will come via shuttle, but I just don't, in this case, feel comfortable spilling that much traffic onto public streets for parking, potentially. And that's the reason for my condition.
Anybody else like to speak? Ben, go ahead.
I think this is since this is a capitalistic society, I think we can't deny anybody their right to a new business with understanding all the different dynamics, certainly appreciating both sides and everything. With respect to parking and with what Steve just suggested, was that even an issue, or are we making it an issue right now with the parking? I guess somebody help me. Steve, help me. Was it an issue before?
Well, I'm reading in the application they could have, the Babylon Adult Daycare applicant indicates that there could be up to 100 clients with a supporting staff of 15. There are 25 parking spaces available.
Yeah,
so I'm doing the math.
I read that, and I think that Mike said that, I can't remember the percentage of people coming into with shuttles as opposed to employees. So I think that was addressed there with respect to how many parking spaces are going to be utilized versus shuttle service. So that's why I'm saying, is it an issue, or are we making it an issue?
Well, I would say that it is not an issue. There should be no objection to the condition that all business must be contained within the parking, because if you truly believe most of the 100 will be coming via shuttle.
I see, yeah. Because you said partnership, so you're saying all the parking contained on the property, because you threw me off when you said, just like the other place who has a partnership with Crystal Ball. Okay. That's fine. So you're saying, so you're saying contained all on the property, not a partnership with somebody else, right?
Well, if he finds a need for more than 35 spots,
Right.
he would have to work with some other non-street parking, private parking space.
Gotcha.
Mayor and Council, if I might, this was the concern of the Planning Commission as well, as when they overturned the decision of the director, and they added the condition that daycare visitors and staff shall only park on the subject property and in authorized parking locations. Authorized could be available street parking, or if an arrangement is made with an adjacent property owner, that would be an authorized parking location, and also subject to an approved transportation plan. So the Planning Commission had the same concerns, and those have been incorporated as conditions of approval if the City Council decides to approve it.
So no further conditions are needed?
Not in that regard, sir.
Well, actually, I agree with Ben on this, that we're looking at a new business, and I don't think we should really be concerned whether they make a profit or not. I'm not an expertise in all these different kinds of businesses. We should be concerned about public safety, the traffic, the parking, and many businesses go out of business after a year or two, and that's part of our capitalistic society. If he makes the right decision, he's rewarded in the marketplace. If he makes the wrong decision, he loses money. But I want to make sure that we have proper amount of parking and everybody's safe. And so far, the evidence that's been presented to me indicates there is enough parking, and I'm satisfied with this plan right here. And I think that as the baby boomers get older, there's going to be increased need for this adult daycare. And, these people have to go somewhere, and I was very close to having to put my parents into something, and looking around, and maybe in 20 or 30 years, the rest of us will be talking to each other in one of those places. So I don't like interfering with the marketplace unless there's a really good reason, and I can't find a good reason to interfere with the marketplace in this case. So I think it's a business that El Cajon probably needs.
I'd just like to say one thing. I'm reading from a website entitled Paying for Adult Daycare, and it says, all adult daycare centers are required to have state licenses and are regulated to a degree to provide certain types of services. I think that's true. I know you don't know a lot about this business. You're just getting into it. So I would like to put a condition on that before we allow this program to begin, that a letter is provided to the city that licensure has been obtained, and if there is no need for licensure, then to be able to satisfy the city that with a letter from Community Care Licensing or some other regulatory agency that they don't need a license, they're fine to open. I just want to make sure that we're protecting our citizens in that respect. Any objections to that? Any staff have any objections to that?
No, sir. So we hear two conditions. I think I heard Councilmember Goebel say earlier that he'd like to have audible alarms on the doors, as well as the condition just offered by Mayor Wells.
And I'm comfortable making a motion to that effect if somebody would like to, for approval, if somebody would like to second.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, please vote. Am I elected? Go, there you go.
Motion carries 4-0, Mayor.
All right, good luck. Everybody, thank you for participating in the process. It was all valuable, and I think this is a really good demonstration of democracy. All right, that brings us to adjournment. We are now at, oh no,
One more.
I'm jumping the gun here, am I?
We have item 102, Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry, what do we need to do?
Public hearing number 102.
I was just jumping right over that. I apologize.
Thank you,
Item
Mayor.
102 is a public hearing on an appeal of a planning commission decision to revoke conditional use permit number 1638 for towing and impound yards. Staff, would you please tell us about this item?
Yes, Mayor and Council. The item before you is an appeal of the Planning Commission decision to revoke conditional use permit number 1638 for a towing and impound yard operation at the property addresses 1101 and 1105 North Marshall Avenue. On June 20th, the Planning Commission adopted Resolution 10901 revoking the conditional use permit due to the lack of compliance with a number of conditions of approval and zoning code violations. And here's the subject site. The property is located on the east side of North Marshall Avenue between Fessler and Vernon Way. The property is surrounded by other industrial uses and is located near Forester Creek. The building was historically used as a poultry processing facility and then a construction materials business and then most recently a towing service since 1995. This is the approved site plan for the conditional use permit. This is one property. However, the rear yard is fenced as shown and split between two towing operations. C&D Towing operates at 1105 North Marshall on the north, and on the south is Quality Towing at 1101 North Marshall. The CUP was just amended in November of 2016 to allow for the second tow operator, that's C&D Towing, and to expand the impound yard for the existing tow operator. And at that time, several conditions of approval were set to address by the Planning Commission, set to address issues with unpermitted building construction and building code violations, as well as ongoing conditions of approval related to property maintenance. So again, on November 1st, the conditional use permit was amended by the Planning Commission. In February and March of this year, the city sent compliance letters reminding the operators and the property owner of those conditions of approval and their need to comply with those conditions. On May 2nd, staff, including representatives of the planning, building and fire safety, stormwater, conducted a site inspection. They found auto repair, auto auctions, and failure to comply with the ongoing conditions of approval or even complete required conditions of approval. And it was because of that site inspection and those failure to comply with the conditions that set the wheels in motion for the Planning Commission to revoke the conditional use permit on June 20th of this year. Again, on July 10th, staff visited the site and found that there are 3 remaining compliance issues that require resolution. The building code violations have yet to be addressed. A condition from our engineering staff for a dedication on North Marshall Avenue. Basically, it's paperwork and the signing over of 7 feet for the future widening of North Marshall, and the maintenance of pervious parking areas. There was a condition that gravel, dust control be implemented and by gravel being put down on dirt, on bare spots, so that stormwater conditions would be satisfied. So what led to the Planning Commission's decision was, as mentioned, was auto repair. Here's a photo of an inspection that was conducted on May 2nd. This shows auto repair and auto auctioning that was going on during staff's visit. These are unpermitted storage containers since have been removed. So again, these are just photos from the May 2nd inspection that led to the Planning Commission's decision of revocation. On June 20th, just before the hearing, staff found that some of the ongoing conditions had been resolved, cleaning up the property, removal of unauthorized storage. Some of the bare spots or dirt areas had been laid down with gravel, and this is yesterday's inspection by staff. But we're not at full compliance yet. As mentioned previously, we have building code violations that have not been addressed. We have a dedication that has not been made, and we have pervious surface areas that have not been addressed as well. So staff recommends that you deny the appeal and uphold the Planning Commission's decision to revoke the conditional use permit. which would then result in all towing and impound operations to cease immediately. And staff is available to answer any questions.
Tony, if we were to do as you suggest, at what point could they come back and apply for the process again? Could they apply for a new conditional use permit?
Well, I think I'm going to have to defer to the city attorney, but I believe it would have to be, I think it's a year before they could come back and ask for a conditional use permit at that same location.
Thanks. Let me see if there's any more questions. Questions of the council? All right. Thank you, Tony. Darrell, do you have any cards on the, first off, let me open the public hearing. Now, Darrell, do you have any cards on this?
We have 3 cards, Mr. Mayor. The first speaker is Mr. Charles Storuk.
Hello, sir. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Chuck Sturrock, S-T-U-R-R-O-C-K, and I'm representing C&D Towing. This has been a long process for us. The property was not in great condition when we moved in, and we're here to appeal or ask for an extension, 6 months, to finish the building permit, the changes and improvements to the property, which has been filed. It's nowhere near completion yet. The declaration, like you said, was just paperwork. And the dust control issue, we've tried 2 or 3 times with different things that didn't work. And we have finally figured out what's going to work, and it should take a couple weeks to take care of that. So we feel like most of the things that they've requested, which were quite a few, have been taken care of. Yes, there probably was an issue of getting them done on time, but, you know, we run a pretty busy business that takes a lot of our time trying to hire employees, which between the 2 companies, we employ about 55 employees in that location. But some of the items that we've had taken care of is the city requested a 7-foot planter with landscaping across the front of the property. It was taken care of. We did security fencing all the way around, and we, like she said, we did divide the 2 properties for the 2 companies. We removed all the temporary buildings and the auto repairs, no more auctions. We lined the parking lot and added fire lanes and added handicap spaces, cleaned out stormwater drains, and added new filter fabric. Parked all the vehicles on non-porous surface. That's pretty much what we have left to do. And again, we're just asking for a short extension to finish the 2 or 3 issues that we have left. It would really hurt us to have to move everything out of there and find another place and then reapply in a year.
Let me see if there's any questions for you. Questions?
You're not the property owner, are you?
No.
Steve?
Yeah, I'm confused as well. Is the other towing person, are they the owner of both lots?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, thank you.
I think I'm not sure if he filled out a card or not.
Why do you think the Planning Commission decisions was wrong? Do you feel the Planning Commission decision was wrong, and if so, why?
Yes, I feel that they were wrong in the fact that we're almost there. Like I said, within 3 to 6 months, everything can be taken care of. I think they're frustrated that some of the issues that they have took longer than they had wanted to after notices. But this is a big realization that we have to take all of our cars and move them out after all the work we've done. And like I said, we put in the planter. We did a lot of things to the property, and it's looking really good right now. And there's some building issues that need to be taken care of. Dust control issues, like I said, will be done in 2 to 3 weeks. And we're so close. I'd hate to be kicked out the last minute when we're almost there.
Other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The next speaker, Mr. Mayor, is Rudy Micah. Mika?
Mr. Mika, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, everybody. How you guys doing today?
Good.
We've been here before. We came in when we got the site approved, commission approved it. We were here when we got the commission, city recommended for revoke our CUP. And we're here again, third time to request a 6-month extension. The reason for the extension, yes, we're business owners. We did some work, we made mistakes. Finally, we came in, not finally, but at this moment, we're at the 3 stages, 3 last final items to be finished with the city. And one of them is to sign a piece of paper to give away the rights of pathway, I think, for the walkway. I contacted the city attorney's office, and I spoke to Melissa this morning, and I submitted an article of incorporation to, I believe there has to be drift legal papers, so for me to go sign it. That was first of it, and second of all was building conditions. We're talking about 14,000 square feet building. Yes, I made a mistake. I didn't follow up on the right time, but we've been working on progress. We submitted plans once and twice and 3 times, and we recently received the plans with conditions, 46 items to be reworked on, and the engineer is working on it to resubmit it again to the city. And as far as the gravel, it's my tenant did add a couple items there. They were not proper. I wouldn't say they were not proper. They were not required as the city approval, and they're working on pavement, the whole property on their site. And I'm here to take any more questions.
Questions?
Are you the property owner?
Yes, sir.
In November, when the conditional use permit was granted, it had conditions that you correct things that were not in compliance then.
Yes.
That was kind of the first notice that you got some problems when that conditional use permit was granted with conditions. Now here we are 6 months later, and now you're asking for another extension.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The last speaker, Mr. Mayor, is Salar Mansour.
Hello, sir. Welcome.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. I just want to put a summary to everything Mr. Chuck and Mika said. What I want to say is we were down from probably, I mean, the staff can correct me if I'm wrong, from 24 conditions to 3 as we're talking today. And all 3 conditions we're pending on now. They're out of our control. The city attorney, I think they're supposed to prepare the deduction for the Marshall widening plan. The second one was the building, which is we're still waiting for the building department. And the third one was the gravel. And I want to say something about the gravel on our side. We tried 2 different materials, and they didn't work because we use forklift. And we finally discovered that forklift doesn't work with this material because it makes kind of sharp turns, and it pushes the gravel into the dirt. So none of them work. I think I have in my record the old pictures before we go on, or on the first days, maybe the city staff has the pictures. You could see a big difference between what the property looked like today and what it was when we first moved in, maybe close to a year ago. Yes, we did make a mistake. We were kind of short on time. One thing we made a mistake with was the paperwork, which is we just realized on the planning, on the commission hearing, that we were supposed to put everything on writing to the city staff and take it to the hearing before the 6 months allowance they gave us. That's one mistake. We realized we'll need more time. We realized we'll need more than 6 months to get everything up to compliance, but we missed the paperwork part of it. We knew will take longer, and I'm sure if we came in after 3 months, asked for extension, like 6 months wasn't enough, I kind of like have an idea now how to do that, but if we'd done this, we'd be in a better position today. So, well, I would ask again to give us another chance. We're down to 3 conditions only, and we're working on them. 2 of them, one of them should be done within the next couple of weeks, and 2 of them it depends on how fast our engineering and the city staff will work together. We're willing to do anything, but like Mr. Chuck mentioned, it's going to be really hard. We run a tough business. It's 24/7, too many employees, too many issues. We tow for a lot of police agencies. We, especially, I want to mention El Cajon Police Department. We've been in a relationship with them for the last 15 years on our site C&D towing. We've been good. We've been doing a good job with them. We don't want to lose that by moving out of El Cajon or trying to find another place. It'll take us a lot of effort to do that, and then come back after a year. Now we know what to do, and we promise we'll get it done within the next 3 months to 6. We don't have to wait a year, if you allow us.
Let me see if there's any questions for you. Questions? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
No other speaker cards, Mr. Mayor.
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Please vote.
Motion to close the public hearing carries 4-0, Mayor.
All right, council, discussion?
Is it okay to call the, I have another question for the property owner. I feel like it's all up to him, because he's the property owner.
All right, we have to open up the public hearing.
Sorry.
It's okay, no big deal. Come on up, sir.
I hear a lot of, we messed up, and then I hear 6 months, and I feel that, I think planning department did a really good job here. And how fast, would it be possible then to do it in 2 months? Because it's only 3 things. It seems like you're so close, but why do you need 6 more months?
The actual thing, we need 2 weeks. The CND side, they already contacted company to come and do the asphalt on their site. They give an estimate 2 weeks. That's on one of the conditions. The second condition is the city, I don't know if I'm correct, I'm actually pointing at the city attorney for that path of way where we're supposed to give 7 feet around the property. I'm willing to do that. All I have to do is sign, but apparently the city has to draft an agreement for me to sign. So these 2 conditions are already technically being met with approval.
You're saying they're not in your hands?
No, they're done.
Okay.
I'm willing to do them. CND is willing to do them. So this 2 weeks will be done. The only condition we have is the building. The building, we already submitted certain plans to the city, to compliance. The building is 1940, Tony, in the 40s, I think.
Okay, so
50s, 1950 used to be a chicken slider. There's concrete everywhere. To do a lot of conditions in that building, it's very old. Just to bring the building to code, I believe me, we spent thousands of dollars to make it there.
You have, as a property owner, you have obviously more of an obligation to see that these things are met, and I think that 6 months is way too long to give you for all this stuff, but I am willing to cut that in half.
Absolutely fine with me, as long as the city give us, I won't say give us more time, but cooperate with us, returning the plans as soon as we submit them.
Yeah, I think, as far as cooperation, they're cooperating. I think it's on you because you're the property owner, because, as a property owner that owns different properties, it all falls on your shoulders. So get with it, get quicker with it. And I think from my, I don't want to have you wait a year to submit another CUP. That's like my hiccup, right? If it was like 3 months or 6 months, I would probably let it go. But I can certainly appreciate the business here in El Cajon. So I just want to tell you to get quick and get right quick.
3 months will be, I'll do my best to finish it in 3 months.
Steve?
You mentioned C&D Towing has got a quote for asphalt covering on their side.
Yes.
What about the other side?
The other side is complete.
100% asphalt?
No, it's 50% of it, it's concrete, and the other, actually 40% of it is concrete, 60% is gravel. And the city staff was there yesterday. They looked at it, took pictures of it, and they said it's, it's clean.
Is that too, Charlie? It's in compliance?
He's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Guess not. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Make a motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Please vote.
Motion to close public hearing carries 4-0, Mayor.
All right, counsel.
I think having them wait a year for the CUP is sort of harsh, but I also do think that a lot of it is their fault. All of it's their fault. I think 3 months is something, maybe if you guys want to look into that, that's probably something I would vote for.
I have a question to staff, Tony. And all these problems, some things were happening that were illegal, right? Illegal auto auctions, illegal fixing of cars. Am I missing anything? Was there something else?
Well, in terms of uses, staff discovered on May 2nd during a site inspection that there was auto repair and auto auction. We hadn't been to the site prior to that, so we don't know how long that was going on for.
And had there been any letters from the city saying, don't do this, it's a cease and desist, or?
Well, before the Planning Commission hearing, well, in regards to that, yes, once the site inspection was made and staff communicated that the auto auctioning and auto repair was not authorized, they immediately ceased.
And they stopped immediately?
They did.
That's good. All right. Thank you.
I'd also like to point out, if I might, is that in terms of the building code violations, these were discovered in September of last year. And the property owner was informed that you needed to get building plans in here and into the city so that we could issue permits for that work. We had those building permit plans were submitted in October to the city and then returned the beginning of December to the applicant. And it wasn't until April 14th of this year that the applicant resubmitted the building plans. And then again, given back to the applicant shortly thereafter. And then the applicant resubmits the revised building plans on July 19th, which was the day before the Planning Commission took action. And then on June 27th of just last month, our building staff returned those plans after plan check. So the plans aren't ready yet. And according to our building official, this is work that could have been done within 6 months had they addressed it in September.
So it's been approximately 10 months now.
It has been. According to our building official, plans could have been approved and work completed within 6 months.
And am I right that it's been approximately 10 months?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Mr. Counselor?
Thank you, Mayor. There's been some testimony that something's in my office to prepare the dedication. That could be true, but I don't think it is at this point. I don't have any recollection of it being in my office yet, unless it was delivered there today while we were in our earlier meeting. But it could be winding its way through the process from Public Works, and we will give it attention when it gets to our.
I'm sorry. What?
It was the dedication that was required as part of the conditional use permit.
Okay.
So apparently there is a dedication requiring an agreement or a deed or something. I'm not sure what. I can tell you that I haven't seen that request, but it may be still with Public Works at this point.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor. Gary.
Well, building violations are a big deal to me and my course of 33 years as being a real estate appraiser, I've had to deal with a lot of cases where there are fires. Many times they're caused by building code violations, and sometimes people die or get hurt very badly. And when we tell people they need to fix something, they need to fix it. And I think he's had ample time to do that. So I think that conditional use permit needs to be revoked. It has to be example set when people don't do what we tell them what to do.
Anybody else want to comment on that? I'm sorry, sir, to close the public hearing at this point. So here's my issue. If it were just a couple of administrative problems, you need a little bit more time to fix them, that'd be fine. But I have problems with the fact that there's an illegal auto auction going on, illegal auto repairs, illegal permitting of, or non-permitted building construction. All of this shows to me a pattern of disregard for the process. That's bad, but it's worse when you're dealing with these auto tow yards, because the auto tow yards deal with people in our city, and it's a very difficult situation for people when their cars get towed. They're at the mercy of the tow yards. They're at the mercy that the tow yards will follow all the rules, and even when they do follow the rules, people get charged massive amounts of money to take a car a couple of miles. It'd be a minimum of $300, sometimes up to $700, $800. And I think when we're putting, it's like when we put a police officer on the street with a weapon, we got to make sure that he's going to follow all the rules, or she's going to follow all the rules. And when we have a police officer that disregards the rules, that police officer usually doesn't work for us any longer, because they're being put in a position to, the public has to be able to trust that. So we're the ones monitoring this, and I think the Planning Commission gave them almost 10 months to resolve this issue. It wasn't resolved. I think it's time to take a stand, not just for this tow yard, but for every other tow yard in El Cajon and set an example. So that would be my recommendation, would be to continue the Planning Commission's decision. Steve.
This, it's great to be a pro-business city. In this case, I think the public is expecting us to be consistent with the way that we manage the city. In other words, to all the other people who follow the rules, to all the other people who get CUP things with conditions and follow them because it is a notice, what do we say to them if we say, well, this one actually had a shot across the bow, a notice last November 1st that you've got some building code violations already, so hit, fix them in 6 months. And then today we say, yeah, but we just don't have a backbone in this area. I think we owe it to everybody that we have asked to fulfill conditions of a CUP to be consistent in our judgment of that. In this case, they already had their first pass on November 1st, and they're asking for a second pass here, and that's more than the one pass I can give.
All right, any other comments before we take a motion? Steve, would you like to make the motion?
Sure, I will make a motion that the City Council uphold the Planning Commission's decision.
Second.
Moved and seconded, please vote.
Motion carries 3-1 with Mr. Colacho voting in the negative. Thank you, Mayor.
Gentlemen, good luck. All right, we are now at adjournment, the adjourned regular joint meeting of the El Cajon City Council, El Cajon Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency, held this 11th day of July 2017, is adjourned till July 25th, 2017 at 3 o'clock p.m. Thank you very much and have a good night.